Who's ready to get a little bit better? If so, you should comment, yes. You should say it out loud. If you're hanging out with someone, just be like, yeah, and just see if people stare at you just for fun. Woo! Here we go. All right, so I recently, a couple months ago, crossed over a pretty significant milestone. And so I want to talk to you about a question that I've had some people ask me now. Kind of a new one for me, but the question is this: how did you create $1 million in revenue? And that's what we've done. And we did not do it in 3 months or 6 months. In fact, it took us 4 years and 8 months to create our first $1 million in revenue. Now some people watching this are like, I did it in 12 months or 18 months. I don't care. I did it in 4 years and 8 months. And some of you, it's going to take you longer than that. Some of you are going to be able to do it quicker than that. If I can give you some wisdom to stand on my shoulders so you can do it quicker, that would make my heart very happy. And so why are people asking that question though? Like, how can I create $1 million in revenue? Because most of us, especially if you're watching my videos, like you'd like to make a little bit more money. And again, if you're watching my videos, like you'd like to do more good in the world. One of my affirmations for years has been, the more money I have, the more good I can do and the more people I can help. Like that's a big motivator. Now I do enjoy the benefits of having more money in my life, but I don't love money. I love what money can enable me to do, but I don't love money because I believe this book, the Bible, it says the love of money is the root of evil. So some people are like, say, I love money and money loves me. I just can't get behind that. But I do love what money can enable me to do and how it can enable me to serve more people and create a greater impact in the world. So if you'd like to make more money, might I give you a little wisdom, learn the hard way over a whole lot of years? And this answer is probably going to be a little different than maybe what you'd like, because there's no magic pill. There is no easy button for getting to that level, which, by the way, just to drop this in here, it's probably going to take you longer than you want. And by the way, when you hit it, you're going to be like, wait, I thought $1 million was going to be like, wah! Like, now I did it over time. So like, it's not going to be as much as you think when you get there. And you're going to be like, okay, how can I do this better? How can I save more, invest more, grow it more, keep more rather than spending more? You're going to learn a lot of lessons along the way, just like I am. And I'm just past this milestone not too long ago, and pretty excited about it. So how did I do it? How did I create $1 million in revenue? Can I tell you the first thing I did? Well, I guess I'll tell you this. I made some decisions. What I did, I just had to make some decisions followed by action, because if your decision is not followed by action, it's probably not a real decision. So here's the first decision I made. Decision number one, I decided to take full responsibility for my life. I stopped playing the victim. Now, granted, this might not be a big deal to some of you watching this, but it was a big deal for me because I was an expert at playing the victim. I was an expert at whining and moaning and groaning and praying, please God, make my circumstances change. Please God, drop some money out of heaven. I am not, well, maybe a little embarrassed, not ashamed. I don't deal in shame because I got no energy for that, but a little embarrassed to say, I was that person that prayed, God, bless this lottery ticket. I never bought a lottery ticket in my life. Guys, I learned a lot about how not to do it in my journey. And at the end of the day, the most important decision I made, bar none, like nothing else was more important than taking 100% responsibility for my life. That if I was going to create a new life that wasn't like limited and restricted and the heaviness of debt and lack and scarcity, if I was going to create a new life that didn't have those qualities, those characteristics, I was going to have to do it. Listen, if you want to create, whether it's $1 million or $10 million or $100 million company, it all starts by you taking 100% responsibility for your life. By the way, that's going to affect your business. It's going to affect your marriage. It's going to affect your relationships, your parenting, your health. It's going to affect everything, but not until you take 100% responsibility is everything going to begin to change. And my first step when I took 100% responsibility was Okay, I'm going to stop playing the victim. I'm going to begin to do some different things. But I decided that I was going to start a business. And that one decision shifted everything. So before I was just really good at playing the victim. When I took responsibility, one of the first ones I made was, I'm going to start a business and see if God can bless that. And so first thing I did was I made a decision, take responsibility. Number two, by the way, this might sound a little familiar to you. I'll bring that together in the end. But the second thing I did, after I took responsibility, I realized there was a lot of gaps in my life, in knowledge and experience. And like, if I'm going to start a business, what the heck? I've never owned a business. I mean, there was Keen Lawn Care, Keen with a K, because my last name's Keen Lawn Care, care with a K. That's what I meant to say. And so, my brother and I, we grew that from like middle school until we went to college. That was my main business experience until I decided to start a coaching company. And there was a lot of gap. And so what I did was, the second decision I made was I got obsessed about growing, about making myself a better version of me. I stopped asking, oh, God, make my life easier, or drop money out of heaven. And I started saying, God, how do I get better? How do I learn more? How do I grow more? How do I become the person that is able to step into abundance? A person that is trustworthy with the blessing of God. How do I become the best version of myself? And I began to get obsessed about growing. I read books. I listened to podcasts. I went to events. I got some new friends. Like, I got obsessed about my growth. I remember that first year I read 7 books. I actually could pull up the list on my phone and show you and name off the books. One of the first books I read was The Compound Effect. Oh, great book. But for a guy who was in the beginning of his personal development journey, that was about, that was maybe 2015, I think, was the year I read that book. And I read that book, and it was part of why I'm standing here today delivering valuable content to you that could change your life, is because I learned that things don't shift overnight. That I needed to stop looking for the big thing that I was going to do and start identifying the small things that I was going to do consistently over time. There are some things I started in that year number 1, like learning how to have a morning routine. Now, I sucked at a morning routine in the beginning. It was like a morning here, a morning there. Like, I was not very good at it. But there's things that I started, like a morning routine, that today it is a staple. It is a foundation of my life. And it all started with that mindset of the compound effect because of one book that I read. Listen, if you want to create massive wealth, more revenue in your company, happiness and fulfillment, you better get obsessed about growing and becoming the best version of you. And there's a whole lot of resources, books, podcasts, YouTube. There's so many things right at your fingertips, literally in the palm of your hand with your phone. So get obsessed about your growth. That's what I did. If I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have hit that milestone, and I wouldn't be standing here. Number 3 is the huge one. I mean, this is huge. Like, what did I do? I pursued proximity. I got around some new people, and I invited accountability. I'm telling you guys, like some of you guys have heard me talk about these 5 decisions, but I'm giving you a new context. Because if you ask me, how did you create $1 million in revenue in your company, Mark? This is how I did it. There's no easy button. It's not rocket science. It is the simplicity of making the right decisions and then following those decisions with action. And so I started getting around different people. I got some new friends. I shed some friends that weren't going where I was going. They were energy vampires. They were bringing negativity into my life. They would tell me what I couldn't do instead of what I could do. And so I got some new friends, and then I joined a mastermind because one of those friends that I got invited me into mastermind. I got in a mastermind, and I was meeting with these guys every single week for 1 hour, and we were pushing and we were challenging, and we were becoming the best version of ourselves. They were calling me out on my crappy excuses, and they were calling out the greatness on the inside of me. It changed my life by getting in proximity to the right people. And not only getting around them, but I invited the accountability so that I could begin to become that best version of myself, become a different person. And so if you want to level up your life, you're going to have to get around some new people and create some new relationships. All right, let me hit these last 2 real quick. Number 4, I learned how to master my state. I made a decision. I got to master. And to be honest, I didn't even know what the heck master my state meant in the beginning. But all I knew, this is what I knew. I was a friggin' roller coaster. I was like, my highs were high, but my lows were low. And I was good at showing up for people. Like, you don't know, I've been a pastor for 25 years. And so I would show up for people. But when I got home, my wife, my kids, they would get my leftovers. And I would go into these melancholy states where I was just discouraged and low energy. And I'd get all in my head and they could last for weeks. And so I was like this roller coaster. And I couldn't have framed it back then, but what I've learned is that I can master my state. What is going on in a given moment with my body, with my mind, and with the words that are coming out of my mouth. Those three things will determine the state I'm in. The state I'm in determines the meaning that I give to anything, right? And so I had to learn how to master my state. I had to learn that. And now I'm pretty happy to be able to say I'm no longer a roller coaster. Like there's still highs and lows in life because that's life, but I have learned how to create sustainable energy. I can create energy on demand. Woo! Yeah, man. I live this. I'm not putting up something just for you. Like I actually live this in sustainable energy, not just energy, but joy and peace and fulfillment. I've learned how to do that. And a lot of that was about mastering my state and how I'm living moment to moment, how I'm responding to circumstances. Because listen, if you want to create $1 million in revenue in your company, if you're a friggin' roller coaster, it's going to be really hard to do that. If you're dealing with head trash all day, like, oh, you can't do that and you're not going to be able to do that and you're going to fail, it's going to be really difficult for you to grow your company to the level you want to grow it. And listen, I'm a pro at living with that head trash. And I had to learn how to master it. I had to learn how to speak words differently. I literally erased words from my vocabulary that weren't serving me, weren't serving my destiny. And so I learned how to master my state, which leads to number 5, the 5th thing that I did to create $1 million in revenue. I made a decision to say I'm going to do the deep work. And when I say deep work, some of those, like the head chatter, it goes back to limiting beliefs. And that takes some more work. That takes some deep work. And I learned about the values that were directing my life that I didn't even know they were there. I didn't know I had these rules that made it hard for me to be happy. And literally rules subconsciously that made it easy for me to suffer every single day. And so I learned how to flip that script and to create values that were clear and give myself rules that made it a highway to happiness and a dirt road to suffering. I learned how to flip the script and guess what? I'm still doing it. It is an ongoing process. And so if you ask me, how did I hit that milestone? Beyond a shadow of a doubt, those are the 5 things I had to do. And those are the 5 things that I keep doing on a daily basis. And I've had to get the help, the proximity to the right people. I've hired coaches. I've gotten therapy. Oh, the right therapist to help you do some of that deep work, invaluable. The right coach, invaluable. I've put myself in communities. I've gone to events where they've literally helped me go through a lot of this deep work. Tony Robbins has been a huge player in my journey, helping me do some of this deep work. Like, listen, I've been in church my whole life. I love Jesus. But there was some tools that I had not learned about mastering my state and about doing the deep work that I understand and I frame everything from a biblical perspective because that's who I am. Like, I know that's maybe not you, but for me, Tony Robbins brought to life some of the biblical truths. He showed me how to live into those in a practical way. And so some of that, my theology trumps psychological stuff, but sometimes psychological stuff gives a meaningful application to theological truths. That's what I learned from some of those events and how to do the state mastering, how to do the deep work. Listen, these are things that you're going to have to do. You want to take your life where it's never been before. You cannot go beyond these 5 decisions. You don't have to master 52 decisions, just 5 decisions. Start with if you haven't done number 1, fully taken full responsibility for your life. If you have not taken back your power, start there. Make a commitment to do it right now in this moment. Just type in the comments, say, take it back. Say, I take it back. Take back the power that's on the inside of you, the potential to create the life that you desire. I hope that the frame of this maybe hits you a little different because the reason this is familiar to some of you, you've heard me teach some of this, this is the framework that I use for all of my coaching. This is what I do in the communities that I create. I help people make these 5 decisions more consistently. But I didn't just pull these out of the air. I've lived them. And I've helped other people live into them. And what I've seen consistently is when we live into these 5 decisions, our life is irreversibly transformed every single time. And it's not an easy button. It's not quick, but that is what I do. That is what I do in my coaching. That is what I've done as a pastor. Like, this is what I do in my own family, by the way. Like, I'm teaching my kids these same tools. Teaching my kids these tools because these are the decisions that enable you to create a life you want. Whether that's $1 million in revenue or happiness and fulfillment in your life or whatever it is you want, you're going to need these 5 decisions. So I hope this serves you. By the way, I've got a coaching community that I'd love to invite you into. What do we do in that coaching community? We create an environment where it makes it easier for you to make those 5 decisions, where you can actually master those 5 decisions. And it's mastery, and then it continues to go on to the next level of mastery. Like, we don't graduate, we just keep doing them at another level. But if you'd be interested in that, just type community in the comments there, and we'll reach out to you and let you know what options we have. But like, literally, we've got a new coaching community that literally we're bringing founding members into right now. We've got masterminds, we've got one-on-one coaching, we got all these different things. But if you heard this and you want to go there, you might need a little help. Pursue proximity, invite accountability, get around the right people that are doing these things that will help you get to the life you want to get to. So drop a comment, community in there, and we'll reach out to you. Hey guys, I love you. I hope this served you well. This is where you should get off this video right now and go out there and give your greatness to the world because somebody needs what's on the inside of you. Go give it away. I love you guys. Have a great day.